Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to the Blood Splattered Vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about The Bride, a gothic romance from writer-director Maggie Gyllenhaal of Jake Gyllenhaal's sister fame, and also a celebrated actress herself from such movies as The Secretary and The Dark Knight and many, many others.
What an acid trip of a film it is.
My God, this is a movie you're either going to love or you're going to hate. I can't imagine being in the middle on it at all.
No, not at all.
Because this movie is ostensibly a retelling of The Bride of Frankenstein, but it is so much more than that.
Well, it's weird because it's a retelling of The Bride of Frankenstein by an undead Mary Shelley.
Yes.
Who is not the bride, but is the bride.
Yes. It's hard to describe this movie simply. Basically,
this is a movie about vibes, not logic.
Yes, because this movie isn't just a gothic romance. That's the simplest description I could give it, but it's actually more than a gothic romance. It's also a 1940s style film noir crime movie.
Yeah, it's like a mobster film.
Absolutely. And it's about a woman who is basically killed by a mobster and then brought back to life by Frank, who is Frankenstein.
The
Frankenstein's
played by
monster.
Christian Bale.
Played by Christian Bale. And she is played by Jessie Buckley, the Irish actress, and it gives an amazing performance in this.
She gives an amazing performance considering what the character of the bride is.
Yes. So she is the resurrected woman who becomes Frankenstein's bride, but she is also possessed by the spirit of Mary Shelley herself, who is directing her towards causing a feminist revolution.
Yes.
This movie is...
What is real in this movie?
What is real? Okay.
There's so many times when you're like, I don't know if this is supposed to be really happening or not.
Here's the thing you got to understand about the style of this movie. The movie I would liken it to, it's going to be weird, but bear with me. The movie is like Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
Scott Pilgrim has all these kind of like normal things that would happen in the kind of like teen drama it is, except they're all expressed through the language and the visuals of video games.
Yeah.
And anime. This does something similar where every emotion, every idea is conveyed through the language of cinema.
Yes, specifically like golden age of Hollywood cinema.
Yes, like characters at one point break out into a musical number and it equal parts happens in the movie, but it's also kind of an expression of how the characters feel in that moment.
Yeah.
Much like how Scott Pilgrim, they'll have video game fight scenes and you're sitting there going like, is that literally happening? And it kind of is, but it's also an expression of how it feels to be in that kind of situation. This movie does that. There's a point in which the characters are arguing and their argument is expressed by the drive-in movie they happen to be watching at the time, now featuring them having the argument on screen, kind of expressing the cinematic quality of their argument and their love for each other. That alone is going to turn a whole lot of people off. I actually really dug that this movie was like that. It's very weird.
It reminds me, the movie I kept thinking of while we were watching it was, well, this is kind of like if Sucker Punch worked.
I can see that. I can see that to a certain extent because there's a lot of thematic connections to Sucker Punch. But yeah, 100%. I could totally see the comparison to Sucker Punch. If Sucker Punch worked, which I didn't really care for Sucker Punch.
No,
I do think some people are going to watch this and feel the same way that I did about Sucker Punch.
Probably.
I can totally see that, especially when you get to the point where, like I said, there's like a musical number halfway through. So
yes, there's a remake of a very famous musical number that we often associate with Frankenstein in this movie.
We'll talk more about that in the spoiler section.
Yep. And then the ending song.
Yes. Yup.
It's held together by the fact that both the Golden Age of Hollywood and the original Frankenstein films are Golden Age of Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's the sort of connective tissue that it's using.
It definitely feels almost like a stream of consciousness of the idea of the Bride of
Frankenstein. Yeah.
But it's not doesn't always make quite literal sense.
Well, as they sometimes say, it's definitely art.
It's definitely art. And I fucking love this. I've heard some people describe it as maximalist, and I would agree. It's maximalist in the sense that you could tell when Maggie was writing it, she left nothing on the floor. Every idea, no matter how ridiculous it was, ended up on the page. And if there were ideas cut out at one point, I want to know what they were, because they had to have been insane.
Fucking on a rocket ship. Maybe that was too much.
Maybe. Like, them going to space. What the hell?
You know? Yeah, why are we going to space?
Maybe we shouldn't do that. Yeah. But ultimately, I loved this insane movie. I thought the performances were great. I loved the weird way it expressed itself throughout the movie. And I also just kind of love how well it kind of marries a gothic romance and a film noir crime movie.
Yeah.
That part of the movie, if you take out everything else, is the thing that works the most in this film.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to watch a gothic romance retelling of The Bride of Frankenstein that is also a film noir film and is also a feminist manifesto, kind of felt like the writer was trying to spark a revolution through the film, to be honest.
Well, it's a little bit fair because Mary Shelley was a feminist.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they had the word for it.
But Mary Shelley in this movie isn't just Mary Shelley. It is very clearly the voice of the writer.
Right, yeah, yes.
Like it's literally the voice of a writer.
A writer.
But in this context, that is 100% Maggie talking.
Yeah, although I think my favorite thing is that Mary Shelley in this movie has a really goddamn nasty, filthy mouth.
She does. The other thing I kind of love about this movie is, even though it is Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein, what this really is it is that meme, the calm, mild-mannered boyfriend and her feral
the feral girlfriend. Yes.
That's what this fucking movie is throughout the entire runtime. Because when she's resurrected and she has the ghost of Mary Shelley in her and she is also a zombie now, she just goes insane.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so interesting about the performance is that she manages to play this part, which on the surface, you're like, how the fuck do I play this?
Oh, yeah.
How do I play an undead person who has amnesia that is also part Mary Shelley?
Yep. And she does it beautifully.
I know, it's great.
And one of the most impressive parts about it for me is that she uses two different accents to represent the two sides.
Yeah.
She's got the British accent, which is the Mary Shelley part, and then she's got the American accent to represent the bride. But I want to note, the actress is Irish.
Yeah.
She is gesticulating between two accents that are not hers.
Yeah.
And it's seamless. That is impressive as fuck.
Yeah. I'm like, this movie is probably not going to get an award for anything, but I think she should get an award for something.
No. This movie is like Mickey 17 of last year.
Oh, yeah.
It is an insane movie in which a filmmaker went all the way with their concept and left nothing on the table, and it's going to turn a lot of people off, and it's not going to win awards, but goddamn if it isn't an expression of that filmmaker.
Oh, yeah.
So if anything we've said so far has enticed you, The Bride is currently available in theaters. I would recommend checking it out sooner than later because it's probably going to leave theaters pretty soon, given that it's bombing.
Yeah.
And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
Do 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 do. Okay, so Christian Bale does as Frankenstein. He doesn't just do part of Putting on the Ritz. They do an entire dance number of the entire fucking song.
A reference to Young Frankenstein, for those who have seen that classic Mel Brooks movie.
Yep.
But the thing about the scene is I love that it's not just a random reference. It's also a direct expression of Frank's exuberance for having talked to his favorite actor.
Yeah. Because in the movie, there is this actor played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who's really obviously supposed to be like a Fred Astaire. Frankenstein is obsessed with the guy.
obsessed with him, obsessed with his movies. One of the first things he does in this movie, which honestly is super relatable to me, he takes his new fiance to go to his favorite movie and then proceeds to talk throughout the entire movie explaining the backstory of the movie and the filmmaker who made it, which is the most me-coded thing ever. So at one point in the movie, they actually run into the actor, who, again, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie's brother. A nice little cameo there.
Yeah.
And even though the guy is an asshole to him, he doesn't really register that he's being an asshole to him. He's just excited about the fact that he got to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
And his excitement ends up becoming expressed through a dance number that turns into a Putting on the Ritz performance that ends up enveloping the entire room, including the actor himself.
Yeah.
And this leads into a shootout with the police. That is a small sampling of this movie's wild trajectories.
Yeah.
You already know about the Mary Shelley bit. So at one point in this movie, the bride becomes a symbol for women everywhere.
Yeah.
She basically ends up making the news.
Particularly among queer and transsexual women.
Yes, 100%. The bride and Frank kind of have like a Bonnie and Clyde like road trip of crimes.
Yeah.
That is being reported on, inspiring a whole bunch of women to, you know, dress like the bride with the messed up makeup and everything. And they rise up.
Yep.
It is a literal revolution that happens in this movie. One of my favorite characters in this movie, I didn't even realize was going to be in this movie, is there's two detectives that are tracking them down throughout the entire movie.
Right, played by
Penelope Cruz and
Peter Sarsgaard.
And I really love their characters because they're not really antagonists. They are, but they're not villains.
Right.
They kind of represent the people trying to work within the system.
Yeah.
And obviously, the bride and Frank are two people who can't work within the system. They're seen as monsters.
They're monsters, and they're so outside. They're such outsiders.
So they're completely cut off from it. In fact, their loneliness is like a huge driving like plot point in this movie. So you have the one guy, you know, who's like earlier in the movie was like trying to take down like a gangster and all that stuff, but in the process ended up getting like his, you know, informants killed.
Yeah.
You know? And then you have the lady detective played by Penelope Cruz in a time in which lady detectives weren't really a thing, or at least weren't acknowledged as a thing, and is not taken seriously by any of the cops. So she has to use her colleague to basically trick the cops into paying attention to the things she says, or distract the cops while she does actual detective work.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, both of them end up empathizing with, you know, our protagonists. Penelope Cruz has a chance to fucking like deal with this and decides to not take her shot. And then when someone else takes the shot, gives the fucking mad scientist lady the opportunity to bring them back to life.
Yeah.
After they're fucking Bonnie and Clyde at the end. And if you're wondering if they live at the end of the movie, yes, their hands come back up.
Yeah.
And
they touch.
They lock hands.
You know, they touch. The movie goes to credits, and then the Monster Mash plays.
The Monster Mash plays. One of my favorite music cues. And after the credits, we get to watch as the mob boss that send the hitman after them.
Oh, right.
Ends up getting fucking attacked and fucking presumably killed eventually.
Presumably killed, yeah.
By the revolutionary women that the bride inspired.
Yeah, who are very obviously either related to or were the victims of the crime boss.
Because the crime boss kind of represents misogyny itself.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is a man that uses and abuses women sometimes for his own enjoyment.
Yeah.
He has a collection of women's tongues.
Yeah, he's literally cutting their voices out.
Yep.
You know.
He is silencing them and killing them. So like the symbology in this movie is not hard to follow. It's very in your face, much like something like Sucker Punch.
Yes.
But I do think
But unlike Sucker Punch, the movie works.
I also think there are more layers to this movie underneath the obvious symbology going on, because even if you don't care about the symbology, you will find yourself invested in the bride and Frank.
Yeah.
And I like that they're not like a perfect couple. Like, she's really fucking hard to handle. She's feral, insane, and goes on these wacky fucking tangents and is constantly getting Frank at the ass end of a fucking policeman's gun.
Yeah.
he basically gaslights her for most of the movie.
Yeah, he does. He does, because he doesn't want to tell her where she really comes from.
When she wakes up, she does not remember much about what happened before she woke up. And he's like feeding her false memories the entire movie. Like, oh no, like that's where we went over here and then we talked about getting married and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And even though you as the viewer watch him get torn up every time he makes a lie like that, it's still a very fucked up thing.
Yeah, it's still a screwed up thing.
It's like a 50 First Dates kind of fucking fucked up thing.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he does learn the error of his ways eventually in this movie.
Yeah.
It is something he has to...
He comes clean.
He does. He
comes clean, and right after that, he gets killed.
Yes.
One of the things that they actually did, which was kind of interesting, is that they each have something that they're very experienced with and something they're very unexperienced with. Frank is very unexperienced with like expressing his emotions because he's never really had anybody to do that to, but he absolutely understands the nature of killing and what that does, what being a killer does to you.
Yes.
Whereas she is learning to kill for the first time.
Yes. And she is teaching him how to express
himself.
You know? And it's kind of cool dynamic there. Probably the most controversial part of this movie is, if it's not already, is most likely going to be the Mary Shelley component of this movie. Because
it's the weirdest element.
Of everything in the movie, it's the one thing you could probably remove and still have pretty much everything else in the movie.
Kind of. The one thing is that the main actress incorporates the Mary Shelley character into the performance of the bride to such an extent that I'm not sure you can remove that.
I get that.
But plot-wise, you could remove it easily.
You could probably like have her just wake up with like a weird split personality that she's like trying to reckon with, the rebellious side of her, and then the like, and then the part of her that's like basically trying to lay low, kind of like Frank. That being said, I wouldn't remove it for the world. I love Mary Shelley's unhinged, yet not incorrect rants throughout this movie.
Not entirely incorrect rants, but definitely like...
She's out of line, but she's not wrong.
Not wrong, yeah.
And I also kind of like that she kind of serves almost like the film noir voiceover of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
But man, is it done so weird. I keep using that word weird, but I don't know how else to describe just...
It's a weird movie.
Watching the movie is a surreal experience, but the movie itself isn't necessarily surreal, if that makes sense. Except for the dance sequence.
It's kind of surreal.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
Follow it. It doesn't pull a David Lynch on you and expect you to put two things together that look nothing alike.
No.
Even though they are alike and David Lynch was a genius, but... It's not expecting you to do that much work.
No. It, honestly, sometimes it reminded me of Richard Kelly at his best.
So basically, just Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Though I do have a soft spot for that really bad Apocalypse movie he made.
Oh, Southland Tales?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me suck your dick.
It's not a good movie.
No, I would never call that a good movie, but it's ambitious.
It is ambitious. It was an ambitious flick.
I feel like the way I feel about that movie is probably how a lot of people are going to feel about this movie, but I would contend that I think this movie holds together
it holds together way better. It holds together way better. I could follow it for one. That's good stuff. And second of all, thematically, it held together.
Yes.
Like the feminist part didn't really detract from the film noir part, which didn't really detract from the romance.
That's the thing. You could probably remove Mary Shelley, but you couldn't remove the feminist part without making a completely different movie.
Correct.
Because that is so much the thesis of this movie.
Yeah. Plus the little aspect of the movie that they touch upon that they just kind of let be there. It's one of the few times where I felt like the movie was actually being a little subtle, which was, there were gay and trans people back in the 30s, right?
Yes, 100%. That they're first kind of introduced in the movie when they go to that one club, which is clearly like a queer underground club, like literally underground. Yeah. So 100%. And then you see some people like that later on in the movie when the revolution
happens. Yeah.
And also when they capture the fucking mob boss, they put him in drag.
Yeah.
feminine rage.
Oh, yeah. A lot of that on screen.
This movie is like an ultimate expression of feminine rage, specifically at the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think in that sense, it kind of realizes that concept perfectly.
Yes, I would actually agree.
You know, because rage isn't always straightforward. You know, like the rage can be directed in different directions. You can find yourself when you're really mad, like jumping from things that make you mad. Basically the way Mary Shelley rants in this movie.
Yes.
Where it's like jumping from like, I'm mad about this and I'm mad about that. And you over there, you pushed her head down when she didn't want to. And,
yeah.
You know, she's kind of like God coming down and judging everyone.
Yes.
You're a sinner, you're a sinner, you're a sinner.
Yeah, you're right, because during that one scene, it's almost as if like Mary Shelley can literally see people's sins.
Well, yeah, because one of the weirdest elements of this movie is this question of like, is Mary Shelley from the same world that the story takes place, or is it literally a book that she is just reading to us like a fucking audiobook?
Yeah, like a you know, once upon a time, now go to fucking bed, you know.
Because Mary Shelley clearly exists in this universe because she possesses, you know, the character, which might just be a metaphor for the way writers kind of
inhabit the character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, Frankenstein's real, not just a story in this universe. In fact, when Frank runs into people, they haven't heard the story before.
That's true. They act as if Dr. Frankenstein was like this real guy.
Yes, 100%. I guess it is a different universe that Mary Shelley has created, and Mary Shelley doesn't necessarily exist in that universe, except she does because in universe, she created the universe. Just bear with me.
Yeah. It gets weird.
But really, the story was written by Maggie Gyllenhaal, who is actually Mary Shelley in this story.
Yes.
So. Maggie Gyllenhaal created a self-insert Mary Shelley that is self-inserting herself into the protagonist of the story that she is creating in the movie.
It's utter madness.
It's a great example of a concept taken to a complete extreme.
Yes. I know writers that use subtlety and they're all cowards.
Some things like that I feel like was a little like, kind of understated in the movie, but I really liked was the one cop who kind of has the journey being an ally, you know, but kind of having to be an ally who's up front, and by the end of the movie stepping back and letting the women do their thing. It's a subtle journey that kind of happens mostly in the background of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little touch. It's not just talking about one aspect of the revolution, which is the literal rising up, you know, and fighting the oppressors. It's also talking about what everyone else who is watching should do.
Yeah, I would agree. It's good movie.
It's a good movie. The Bride. Highly recommend this movie. It's not going to be for everyone, but you're going to have a lot to talk about regardless if you like the movie or not. So if you're looking for something interesting, The Bride is a must-see.
If you're looking for something between the art house and the grindhouse, you got it right here.
This movie is relishing living in that space.
Yeah.
And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube, where I stream mostly every weekday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you should come down because I would love to talk to you. We talk about all kinds of groovy things like horror movies, Satan symbolism, and of course, sex. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. No. Yes. Or we look. Okay. Look. Sometimes things get a little horny. I don't know what to fucking tell you. What about you?
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on various social media platforms, but these days I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of our videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And if you made it this far into the video, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Puttin' on the Ritz. Use the hashtag Puttin' on the Ritz, work it into your comment however you please. That way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows that you puttin' on the Ritz. What he said.